Right, so genomic testing is increasingly available, and at least for patients who have a myeloid malignancy, I think now it really is become standard of care. There's so much that we can learn from that. In part, it helps make the diagnosis, and for diseases like MDS, where there is some subjective aspect to making the diagnosis, it becomes more important to understand whether patients have a typical mutational background or not. But many of these mutations are prognostic across myeloid disorders. They certainly are in MDS, they can be in AML and in MPN, and certain mutations might even be amenable to certain types of interventions. So for example, patients with mutations in IDH or FLT3 in the case of AML, those are targetable with drugs that we have available to us today. In MPN, it's still really the major driver mutations that define the disease, but we know that having additional mutations like TP53 or DNMT3A or others can affect the eventual outcome of these disorders. So I think it is part and parcel of the diagnosis for those disorders. Now for CHIP, we have to be a little bit more selective. We can't simply sequence everybody in order to determine if they have CHIP, because in many of those patients, it won't have any clinical significance. So there are certain scenarios where I consider it if a patient doesn't have other symptomatology. So for example, in a patient who has an unexplained low blood count, even if they're not symptomatic from it, that could be a precursor condition to something like MDS. Or if it's a patient who has a prior malignancy and we're worried that one of the clones that was identified in genetic sequencing for that malignancy might actually be clonal hematopoiesis, we'll try to confirm that and understand if it has any implications for them. So in certain scenarios, I think it's worthwhile to do a broader genomic profiling.